You're listening to today's inspirational message on the Proverbs with Kurt Bjorklund.
The other day I was driving down the highway and I saw a billboard that had a sign for the lottery, and it had one of those huge numbers on it that basically called out and said, buy a lottery ticket and you can be a billionaire. And I thought as I saw that about the statistics and why I don't buy lottery tickets. And yet there was a strange part of me that thought, well, what if I bought that and that happened? And then I was reminded of the Proverbs in Proverbs chapter 12 that really exhorts people not to have a shortcut mentality in life. Verse 11, whoever works his land will have plenty of bread, but he who follows worthless pursuits lacks sense. And in a sense, you could say this is the chasing of fantasies. Now, a lottery ticket, you have money to burn, want to buy a lottery ticket, I don't consider that a moral wrong. But my point is, when you start to count on gimmicks or worthless pursuits, or you spend your time doing things other than what has a yield in life, that what you're doing is you're prioritizing shortcuts. You're following a get-rich-quick scheme in a sense, and it's really nothing but a fantasy. In fact, the NIV says the word fantasies. The New Century Version says empty dreams. The TEV, it's today's English version, says useless projects. And the Hebrew word here is requiem, which means a worthless pursuit in an effort to make money. So a worthless pursuit in an effort to make money. So let me read this again. Whoever, verse 11, works his land will have plenty of bread, but he who, let me sub in the Hebrew definition, follows a worthless pursuit in an effort to make money lacks sense. And so here, again, just the simple statement is be careful of shortcuts. Now, what influences us in this? One, verse 12, coveting what other people have. Whoever is wicked covets the spoils of evildoers, but the root of the righteous bears fruit. The same day that I was driving down the highway and I saw the sign to become a billionaire if I stopped and bought a lottery ticket, I remember a news story about the wealth of what somebody in Hollywood was making for their movie. And it was absurd. It was more money than most of us will make in our lifetime for a couple months of work. And I had a moment of saying, that seems so wrong in our culture. And so there was what was a piece of me that in fact they would make more than most of us would make in several lifetimes in a single movie. And so I just had that moment of wanting what they had. But that's what leads to the pursuit of worthless pursuits instead of putting our hand to the plow. And then verse 10, whoever is righteous has regard for the life of his beast, but the mercy of the wicked is cruel. And what that means is that any kind of attempted compassion, in a sense, the mercy of the wicked is cruel, can end up being cruel. But whoever is righteous has regard for the life of his beast. In other words, you won't ignore the helpless. Here, the animal is put into this idea. And so living, in a sense, without a sense of fantasy will say, I'll never ignore the helpless, but I'll choose to show compassion. I won't chase fantasies, but I'll work hard. I won't envy at what other people accumulate, but I will seek to bear real fruit. And in doing that, my life will actually move forward in the way that God has intended it to move forward. And so often what can happen is, whether it's a fantasy about what we're capable of, what we'll do in the future, what I'll do someday when I get a different job, if I inherit money, if I could buy a house, if I could, and we live our lives in this constant loop of saying there's a shortcut to get where I want to go, instead of saying, put your head down, do what God has called you to do today and trust him for the future. And as you're doing that, pay attention to those without, pay attention to those you're coveting, pay attention to those who don't have what you have, and God will work in and through that part of your life. And it's part of the beautiful picture that we see in Proverbs.
Thanks for joining us here today. There's a lot of great content to explore on Orchard Hill Plus and on the Orchard Hill main feed from the weekend. Have a great day.